He demonstrated that the answers that the Bible gives to the big questions of life about the search for meaning, the search for purpose, the search for love, the answer to the problem of suffering. As he said himself, the Bible doesn't give you exhaustive answers to these questions, but it gives you sufficient. And that's a key distinction. In other words, we're finite human beings. It doesn't tell us everything we could know. It tells us sufficient in order to believe. And more than that, he says, it's not just sufficient, it's the best answer. If you take the question of suffering, for example, he said to someone who said, I don't believe in a God of love because there's so much suffering in the world. I don't believe God exists. To which he responded, okay, supposing we all agree that God doesn't exist, there's no God. You've still got the problem of suffering. Now please tell me how you're going to deal with it and how you will offer comfort and help to a mother or a father or a sibling who's dying. Beyond saying, there's no God, there's no hope, there's no answer. Is your answer more sufficient and offering more comfort than the Christian offer of hope because of the evidence of the resurrection of Jesus Christ? So what he was brilliant at doing was communicating the truth claims of the gospel, providing answers, and then asking questions. Most preachers are not very good at that, but actually if we follow the model of Jesus, we see it's one of the key ways to communicate the gospel is how to ask good questions. And he provoked people in that way to reflect on the truth claims of the gospel. He provoked questions and he sought to answer them. Now, some people falsely, therefore, thought that L'Abri was an intellectual center that was all about providing answers to people's questions. What my wife said was terrific about Schaeffer was he was also a very compassionate man. And she remembers she was working in this center for badly disabled or handicapped children, so disabled that their parents couldn't actually manage them, and they sent them to this school where they lived as well as ate all their food and were away from their parents. And my wife was one of the teachers. Schaeffer was leading a ministry which was worldwide with hundreds of people coming through every week. He'd been traveling in the States and he came back. He met my wife, who was only 21 years of age, as she was walking up the roadside to the place where she was living and caring for the children. And he asked her what her name was and where she was living and working. She told him, and he said, "Oh, how's that girl, Andrea, doing?" In the eyes of the world, that girl was unknown. She was barely able to communicate verbally. She had a severe handicap, but Schaeffer was concerned for her as an individual. That was a mark of his greatness. He wasn't just about preaching or speaking to large crowds, but he had compassion to those who were strugglers or had challenges in life. That's a mark of greatness too, because some leaders can just be obsessed with being on the platform and feeling the need for that acclamation, but he was concerned for the individuals and compassionate.